Light and peace, brothers and sisters. Topic of discussion today is who were the gods of Genesis. For those of you already know, when you read the Christian Bible, there's been a question that keep on coming up that it appears as if there were more than one God talking in the Genesis account in Genesis chapter 1. So in this video, I'm going to show using the OahspeCollegeUniversity to reveal and render up the gods that was talking when in Genesis it says, let us make man in our own image. So today's topic is who were the gods of Genesis, and I'm going to render up who these gods were according to the OahspeCollegeUniversity. The gods that said in Genesis, let us make man in our own image, started from the Lord God, Osiris. And Osiris had chief gods, and he had his own primary chief gods, and those chief gods named Tayan, Sodgar, Osiris, Baal, and Astaroth. Beside those chief gods, he had just the regular gods, but the main people in charge were the chief gods. And the other names of those gods that he had was Anubai, Phoebe, Exlu, Elu, Orion, Abi, and Valish. But Osiris chose his close friends as his chief gods, and those names are Tayan, Sodgar, Osiris, Baal, and Astaroth. So in the Genesis, when Genesis said in chapter 1, when he said, let us make man in our image, whatever that chapter is in chapter 1, 2, 3, whatever it is in the Genesis account in the Christian Bible, the King James Bible that we have, let us make man in our own image. It was all these gods that Osiris was the one that said, let us make. Osiris decided that the Genesis account was going to have the name, let us make man in our own image. Now, later on, Osiris revised the Genesis account, and the Genesis account that we have today in our Bible, in the Christian Bible, is the one Osiris revised, but it started from Osiris. And these guys that gave us these 6 days creation stories, as you already know from so those who read OahspeCollegeUniversity, you already know where I'm going. And Osiris was the main god, and the primary gods was Osiris, Tayan, Sodgar, Baal, and Astaroth. But the other secondary gods were not present when Osiris decided to give the account. That 6 day story, the 6 day creation story, was actually a meeting to decide what they were going to give to our world, because questions kept on coming up where people were asking all over the world, where did we come from? Because remember, Osiris took over the entire heavens, and he wanted his own heaven to be the highest heaven. So when humans die, they go to his own heaven, and he had his other gods to be in charge. So the humans were asking Osiris, Tayan, Sodgar, Baal, and Astaroth questions. So they decided to go back to Osiris, and Osiris decided to have a meeting. And in that meeting is when they decided what creation story they were going to give to we humans. And the 6 day creation story they gave to us was Osiris who gave it to us. And, you know, he wrote day 1. But the day 1 to them was a meeting, you know. So they had a day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5, and day 6. What amazes me is that, also Sila Shalom already exposed this in his video, that you cannot have the sun created on day 4 when plant was created in day 3. It makes no sense, because you need the sun to be created first, then the plant. You see? So there's a big problem with this creation story, and a lot of people don't want to address it. But the faiths are addressing it. And those who read the OahspeCollegeUniversity already see for sure that it makes no sense. But the 6 days creation story was actually a 6 day meeting. It was a meeting where they met. And in that meeting, Osiris, Tayan, Sodgar, Baal, and Astaroth decided what was going to be given. And like I said, Osiris revised the story later on, but that's where the story lies. So I'm going to go to the book of Akaban, chapter 20, verse 18, to show you that Osiris was the one that revised the story. And how did our Bible get it? Ezra was told to go get the information. He gathered the information from the Egyptian record. So the book of Akaban, chapter 20, verse 18, the book of Genesis, as it stood in the Egyptian record, you see that, was written by Akabon and Duram and Azad, and it was substance from which Ezra copied it through his scribes, even as it's to his day. You see that? So even to this day, the inspiration of Genesis was from the god Osiris. You see that? So Osiris was the one that gave us the creation story that we read in the King James Bible today. And his emissaries, chief of whom were Yotoba and Egypt, who were angel servants to Osiris. And so far as to the records now stand, the spirit of both books was the Egyptian version of the whole subject. You see that? So the book that we read today, Osiris was the one that gave it to us. The creation story that we read, Osiris revising, though it started from Anu Asad, but Osiris has the information. It was actually Osiris' story, So now, to show that Ezra copied the information from the Egyptian Egyptian record, and he gathered it and into the book that we use today. So I'm going to go to the book of Ezra, chapter 41, verse 31. The book of Ezra, chapter 41, verse 31. To accomplish this, Thoth employed 700,000 angels. Thoth is the angel Gabriel. Thoth is the same Muslim god who later on broke free from Luomong, the Christian god. To accomplish this, Thoth employed 700,000 angels to be with Ezra. You see that? And the numerous tribes whom Ezra employed, and by their inspiration, the book of the Ezra Bible were written and compiled according to the commandment of Luomong. And there were thus completed 72 books, and they were put on file in the king's library in Jerusalem, which was how the ancient preserved important records of events. And these books were named by Ezra. You see that? Ezra named those books the Holy Library, which we call the Holy Bible today, for which number 54 remain to this day. You see that? So 54 books that Ezra compiled, which is the Old Testament, remain today. You see that? So Ezra was the one that went to compile this Old Testament that we read in King James Bible today. And in the previous chapter, Osiris was the one that revised the record, and he kept it in the Egyptian record, and Ezra went to take it. You see? Now, to show that the Israelites were not the one that actually did it, and the book that we read did not come during the time of Moses, I'm going to go to the book of Sapphira and the basic of the Ezra Bible, verse 47. The faith is proper were a small minority and scattered in many lands. The rest, who were called Jews, lived under the written laws and ceremonies which were compiled and established by Ezra. You see that in Jerusalem. Now you see how he says the open parenthesis, under the inspiration of Luomong, which combination of books was called the Bible, and was completed in the year 2344 BK. 2344 BK was when the Old Testament was completed. Verse 59, the age of the Ezra Bible, the age of the Old Testament, is not therefore from the time of Moses. You see that? Because Moses came around 1553 BCE, right? And so, but now verse 59 says the age of the Ezra Bible was not therefore from the time of Moses, but from the time of Ezra, 2344 year BK, which means when you minus it, when you take the year 1848 and minus 2344, you get 496 BCE. So it was completed in 496 BCE. That's when the Old Testament was compiled. You see that? So, ladies and gentlemen, the gods was exposed in the OahspeCollegeUniversity who created the Genesis account, and you can clearly see that Ezra was the one that went to gather the information. It was under the inspiration of Luomong, the Christian God. You see? So that brings up the question. If the Ezra Bible was completed in the year 2344 BK, which is part of the King James Bible that most people read today, including the Tanakh. So this brings us to the following. Now, you need to understand BK stands for before Kazman. So the Kazman cycle is the 25th Earth cycle, which started in the year 1848 CE. So when you take 2344 and you subtract it from 1848, it brings you to 496 BCE. 496 BCE. And that's when the Bible, the Old Testament, was compiled, and Ezra took the Genesis account from the Egyptian record, and it never even came from Moses. You see that? So, brothers and sisters, here you have it. The gods of the gods that gave us the Genesis account was, started from Anuhasaj, and Osiris revised it. So you got Tayan, Sodgat, Osiris, Baal, and Astaroth, who were responsible to send all this information to tell us that God was created in our own image. And they were the one that gave us the 6-day creation. Though it started from Anuhasaj, but Osiris was the main focus at the end of the day, because he's the one that revised it. And that same information we have in King James Bible today. You see that? Brothers and sisters, light and peace now. Bye-bye now. Light and peace, brothers and sisters. Topic of discussion today.